So welcome back, guys. Today we'll be modeling a hard box from Fusion 360. And just to go over some features that you can do once you enter the Fusion 360 tab, you'll be seeing this family tree down here. It's actually very useful. So in this family tree, you can record your history from different features that you've taken and edit each feature one at a time. So you see this tab, click and drag that tab, and you can see the sketch. In this case, I got a little bit of a head start, but this is a sketch for a heart. And let's say I want to edit the sketch. I can just click on my mouse, right click, and put edit sketch. And this will take me to the edit sketch plane where I can modify exactly what I want. So let's say I don't want this heart, I want to change it up a bit. I can go here and click trim and delete elements of what I want to change. So let's start from 0, scrap that idea, and start a new heart. So to go over some basic shapes and geometries for Fusion 360, we have our circles, center diameter circle. Let's do that to draw a heart, and I'll be modeling after this. I took it from FIU. It's a nice little box, so it's more or less fitting on the size of my palm. And I measured it with a caliper. It's like 70 by 75 millimeters. So let's draw our circles. Those should be our hearts. We're going to draw a 2-point circle up here. If by any chance you want to stop and ask me questions, feel free, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue, and you can watch the recording afterwards if you want to backtrack and see exactly what I've done. The good thing yeah, you got it. The good thing between Fusion 360 and other modeling software like SolidWorks that I found beneficial, it's really easy to understand once you get the features. It's not like SolidWorks where you have to really put effort into it. Sure, practice helps. It goes a long way. But the layout of the features are much easier, more intuitive if you ask me on Fusion 360. Have you taken SolidWorks by any chance?
No, not yet.
Not yet? So you probably were introduced into this before with Dr. Lim?
Probably, I think so.
Awesome. So that's your advantage. We can start over fresh. So basically what I've done so far is I've drawn the 2 hearts, and I've drawn a midline of the heart. And so you can see these constraints here. You see this T-looking thing? It basically means they're intersecting at right angles. This one means that it's parallel, and this one in the middle means that it's parallel. So what we want to do now is we want to create the shape of the heart. It's a rough shape, but you'll see we'll be editing these features afterwards. So what can you do now? You have this triangle-looking thing and these 2 circles. Let me introduce you to a feature called offset. And so offset is basically going to take a shape that you've drawn and offset it. So that's useful if you want to create an offset of a sketch. But what I'll be showing you now is how to move and copy a sketch. So with your mouse, you click move and copy, or with your keyboard, you just click the shortcut M. Both ways work. And you just click and drag your sketch and move it. If you want to create a copy, you click here, click copy, and you just click and drag, and it'll create a copy of your sketch automatically. And so that will be useful since we want to create this V notch on top. Let's cut this off. So with our trim tool, it'll cut off our extra sketches that we don't need. And now we can click fillet, and that will round our edges, which gives us this general heart shape. You can do that here as well. 5mm fillet. So by the end of it, what do we got? We've got a general looking heart shape. And now we want to extrude this sketch to give it a solid body. So you click extrude. It asks us, well, what do you want to extrude? You go ahead and highlight all of this. Now we want to select how much you want to extrude. 20mm is around the size that we're looking for. If you want to go higher, go ahead. That's fine. One feature that's new to Fusion 360 that I've noticed at least. So now you see this extrude shows up here. If you want to, you can go ahead and edit this feature. And one feature that I've noticed is new to extrude is that it has this thing called thin extrude. So what's thin extrude? It basically creates an outline of the thing you want to extrude. See the difference?
The difference is like between the blue and the gray, right?
Say again?
The difference is on the gray part that just showed up, right?
That's right. So if you have thin extrude, it only creates a thin layer of the wall that you want to extrude for that whole body. If you regular extrude, it'll create that whole sketch that will extrude. So let's say for this one, since we're making a box, it'll be much easier for us to thin extrude. We'll do thin extrude and we'll create the wall thickness to 3 or 2. That looks nice. So 2 will be our thin extrude and our walls will be 2 millimeters thick. And now we have the walls for the box. Now we're missing the top and the bottom, and that is just another extrude. So in this case, we have our extrude profiles. And we're going to go ahead and click and drag everything again. See how it starts from the bottom? That's for our sketch. So in this case, we're going to do regular extrude, and we're going to extrude 2. It gives us some options here to extrude, and we're going to do join, since we want this new body to extrude, that we extruded, to join our old one. So now, here on the right, on the left side, you have your origin, bodies, sketches, and soon instructions if you make any. So every time you make a new body or a sketch, it shows up there. You can click this eye-looking icon and take it away if it's bothering you. Let's say this origin's bothering me, goodbye, it's gone. So now, I can just work on the bodies. Any questions so far?
Yeah, so far I think I'm following along. I'm following.
Okay, great.
Wait. There's one question though. Like, what's the advantage of like I know like how it showed the difference when you did the thin extrude versus the regular one, but like what's the advantage of that? Like, where would you use it?
Sure. So right now, if you notice, we're making a box. It would be easier for me, particularly, to use thin extrude because the walls are made automatically. If I use regular extrude, I have to make a new sketch so that it has the thinness of the wall. So you see how I have only one sketch right here? If I want to make an extrude the regular way to create the walls, I would have to create a new sketch that's the shape of the heart but smaller, so that I can extrude only the thin walls. And so I save myself time by using thin extrude. So because it creates this sketch, it looks at the outer shape of this and creates a extrude based off of it. That's thin.
Hey, but can you specify the thickness, or does it do it automatically?
Yeah, I can specify the thickness here. So I went to thin extrude, and you see on this, I can indicate the wall thickness of 2 millimeters. If I want to make it bigger, I can make it 10 millimeters. See how the difference is now?
Okay, I see that.
So basically what you want to do now is we're going to create a top section for this box to cover it. And so in this case, it's going to be more or less an identical replica of this profile we have here. So what we could do is extrude this now. One second. I can extrude this, and here we go. How about this, to make it even better? We can create an extrude using our sketch that we had before, the bottom one. And so in this case, I'll be showing you another type of extrude. So the types of extrude used so far is thin extrude and one-side extrude. But in this case, we want to make it 2 sides. And so what is the difference between making it 1 side and 2 sides? So one side is just going to give you one direction to extrude it from, but 2 sides is going to give you 2 directions to extrude it from. So in this case, I want to extrude it from this side, and I'm going to grab the other side and bring it up to that level and extrude it as well from this side. And so what's that going to allow me, particularly, is going to give me the chance to create a body using the sketch plane, but offset from the sketch plane. See how the original sketch plane is down here, and my new body is up here because I was able to take the 2 directions of the extrude I'm taking it and making it and bring up one direction so that the new body is up here. So right now it's at 5 millimeters thick. Let's say we want to make it thinner. Let's make this 3 millimeters thick, or 2 millimeters thick, and then we'll leave 2 millimeters so that I can ingrain in the other one. What would this do? It would basically give us a new cap, and we can repeat this if we want to, for example, have this cap snap onto the other box, right? So let's repeat that feature. Extrude again. And in this case, we'll be doing a thin extrude. A thin extrude because that's what's going to give us this thin outline. And we'll do two sides. There we go. So we have our thin extrude, and let's make it 2 millimeters in. So it'll look like that. See our thin extrude?
Yes, yeah.
So let's take away this body now, and let's take away the sketch. And with the thin extrude, we basically made an outline of the shape to make the cap for it. And so we're going to be finding a way to put this cap onto the box. So we can use our measuring tool with inspect, and let's say this side. We're going to measure the distance from here to here. And it says that is 3 millimeters. So that means, let's take it one more time, inspect the distance from here to here, and that's 1 millimeter. So our profile that we're going to be using on the box, it needs to be 1 millimeter so it can snap onto this cap. So let's go back to our box. In this case here we have the body. Our box is down there. So now on this box, let's go back and create a new sketch that allows us to engrain this onto this cap. There we go. So we said it was 1 millimeter, that the opening we have. So what we can do is we can create a thin extrude from the original sketch, but instead of using a thin extrude to make a boss, we're going to make a cut. So instead of adding material, we'll be cutting material. So let's try that. Bring back our sketch. Highlight. Make a thin extrude, and we'll make it two sides. So in this case, we bring this material up here. There we go. And see how it's a thin extrude, but now it's cutting into the material. And so that's going to be our rim for the other box to grain inside. So let's cut it. Looks nice. And now we have our thin extrude, cap, and box. All that's left to do is put them together. And to do that, we can click move and copy, and it specifies what you want to move. Well, we're going to move this body, all of it. We're going to move it down here. That looks good. So now you have a box, and let's do some final touches to it. So we want to fillet it, make the edges smooth. So we can do that. We can fillet both sides down here. And we can add, let's say, 2 millimeter fillet. How does that look like? It rounds the edges 2 millimeters in both faces. Since the profile you made of the sketch is round already, you can't round edges, but you can round these flat sides. So for example, this, you can't really round because it's an extrude of something that is round. So this entire face is round. Also this side I don't think you can round, but for these flat sides, you can. Maybe you can try different values, for example, until something works. Hey, look, 3 works. Can we try 4? Let's try 4. 4 works as well. So let's leave it at that, at 4. And so here's a trick you can do. So now you have a box with a top and a bottom, right? But you have no way to see what's inside of it, and you know what's inside, it's empty. So we're going to do section analysis. And what that's going to do is basically cut this figure that you made in half for you to view the inside of it. So I cut the figure in half, and you can choose the face you want to cut it from. So that's up to you. In this case, I cut it from top to bottom, but let's say I want to cut it from the side. So I go here to section analysis, and I cut it from the side. See, it's from the side now? And so I cut it. I can see the place at which the two, where the top and the body came together. And I can move it if I want to. Any questions so far?
Not yet, not yet.
Yeah, so far so good.
Sounds good. So now we have this empty box, and let's say you want to fill it because life's like a box of chocolates. So let's make little sections so we can put stuff in it. So now we have our cross-section analysis. We can see the inside of the box, and let's say you want to be able to now put stuff inside. Let's make a new section analysis. In this case, from the top. So we can see from the top inside what we want to put in this box. Every time you do an analysis, you can see this analysis tab opens. The same way you have body sketches and constructions if you make constructions. So I'm looking at this box from FIU. It has some compartments in it. I'm just going to be modeling based off that. But more or less what you want to do is create a sketch. Create a sketch here, the same way you create a sketch for the heart. And we're going to be making different boxes for this. So the good thing about this is that we don't need to do an exact sketch. We can more or less eyeball it. But I'll be showing you some tricks to help you making a precise sketch regardless of how it looks. So my line. Awesome. So here you have these two lines, and these are basically the compartments. We want to offset it to give some thickness. So let's do an offset. Let's offset by 1 millimeter. So we have this. So basically what's going to be showing up in the extrude is this. Let's close this here. Let's do one more offset right there. Let's offset it in the other direction, so we'll put a negative offset. There you go. And now let's say you want to make this line parallel. This line right here parallel to this line. You can click here, put parallel, and then make some parallel. Let's try this again. So this line here, we want to make it parallel to that one. Now it's parallel. Now we can click the offset. So the reason it gives me an error is because you're trying to make something parallel with a feature that doesn't exist. So the offset, once the offset is made, you can reference the offset to make more modifications because the offset itself is a modification of the original line or the original geometry. What you can do is reference the original line and then modify off that, which is what we did. So we first made them parallel, and then we did the offset. And now this we more or less did the compartments of the box: 1, 2, 3, 4 compartments. And then you want to be able to mirror this on the other side. So we have an option here to click mirror, and we're going to mirror basically all of this. Mirror line over here. And now we have different compartments. Let's finish the sketch.
Wait, repeat that last part again. How did that work?
Yeah, how do we do this? Simple.
Yeah, there.
You click mirror, yeah. So you see how you have this mirror tool right here? So clicking mirror, it allows you to highlight these objects that you want to mirror. So in this case, I want to mirror this triangle here. So I click this triangle and I click the mirror line I want to mirror it on. So let me go ahead and undo mirror and show exactly that step again. All these objects, I selected them. And I click the mirror line I want to mirror it. In this case, it's the midline for my entire sketch. That's it, it's done.
So you can mirror modifications.
You're right, you can mirror modifications. If I wanted to, I can make half a heart, right? Tell you what, I could make half a heart and then mirror it so I can make the whole box. So that could be done. And if you want, I can show you more about that after this. So basically, I'm done with the sketch and I'm going to extrude the sketch now. So I'm going to make my sketches visible and I want to mirror. I want to mirror this line, And just getting back to your point, yes, you can mirror modifications. So let's try that. Let's try that here. First, I need to finish the sketch. So you see how when I try to click here, it wouldn't let me highlight this particular sketch I wanted. It highlighted its entire body. That's because this sketch is not finished. See how there's an open space here? You can't really have a sketch unless it's closed. So one thing to regularly look out for in all your sketches you make is to make sure they're closed. And in this case, you gotta repeat the same thing to their side. And here's a tip. Usually whenever you see a dot in your sketches, it means it's not closed. It means that sketch is open. But now it's closed, hopefully. And let's mirror it. All right. So let me show you exactly what you can do to mirror it. So we have our sketch. We're going to extrude it. And instead of cutting it, we're going to join them. Join those two parts together. So we have join, that's good. So to mirror it, and to mirror in this case features or bodies, go here to mirror, and it gives you the option, what do you want to mirror? I want to mirror a body. So, or I want to mirror a feature. And it shows me what feature you want to mirror, that one. In this case, it indicates to me what plane I want to mirror it on. I don't have any plane right now, and the only planes I do have are the origin plane, so what can we do? We're going to construct a new plane. And so now we're going to go to constructions, and we're going to construct an offset plane. An offset plane, so we can make it at the middle of this box. So you see this orange line I'm dragging right now? That's my offset plane. And let me just, now you see it? So I'm gonna take that as yes. So basically with this offset plane, I'm gonna put it at the middle of the box so I can mirror the feature like you were saying earlier. So now I can go back and click mirror. And now I have an offset plane. I can go back to my features and click mirror plane, and there, it's done. I'm gonna click optimize, since usually that's the best option for mirroring features. Sometimes you get some weird errors for that, and that's fine. Compute failed. That also has to do more or less with the sketches that you make. Some sketches, and this is something I learned recently, some sketches you can't mirror because the sketches by themselves are non-manifold. It basically means that the sketches could have some sort of faulty error in them, and that's no fault on you or on the sketch itself. It's just that basically the model is trying to compute something that when you take it on the 3D printer, you can't 3D print because either of the sketch size or because of the body size. So let's try this again. Let's try the mirror. And if you want, you can do some research into what non-manifold is. It's just weird. There you go. We click adjust, and in this case, adjust works for us. So now we have our box, we have our compartments. Let's go ahead and put the lid on it. So we take away analysis, and this is how our box looks right now. You'll notice when we did construction of a plane, now we can close that since we know our plane is there. So we have a box, and more or less this is what it's going to look like. Let's put some colors to it, right? So we click appearance, and what that does is give us the different material and color properties available for us. And it's a library of things you can have. In this case, we'll be skipping to paint, and let's put a glossy finish. So you have these basic colors, and you're like, well, that's not pink, I want pink, right? So we can go ahead and click our color. In this case, we want to apply to bodies and components. So what is a body, what is a component? The difference is bodies is what we have right now. Just the body itself, the entire solid body. So we go here to our bodies, and there's two bodies, right? The body for the box and the body for the cap, straightforward. Now, here's the thing. If you want to make an assembly, then you need to make it into a component, because you can't create assembly from bodies. And that's just a Fusion 360 thing. So whenever you apply a material property to a body or component, it's to that entire thing. In this case, our cap and our box. And if you want to do for faces, well then that's more or less straightforward. You just do the face. And there are several faces in a single body. But in this case, we want to make a body. So we go here and just click and drag red onto our body. Look, now it's red. And let's say we want to do the exact same thing to our cap. Now it's red. Now let's say, you know what? I want pink instead. You go ahead and you go up here, click on your red, and you change that to pink. Okay, just gonna eyeball it, but makes the point. Now you have pink. And let's say now you want to go back to red, or I can go back to red. In this case, I want to apply to the face now. There. Now I have red on that face. More or less, that's how it works. Any questions so far?
Nope, not yet.
All right, sounds good. So let's just make this aesthetically pleasing. Let's make the edges red, and let's see if that's possible. Yeah, apply to that face. We'll make this face red, and the body itself pink. And so for the different colors is for you to more or less experiment with. That's up to you, your choices of experimentation, that's fine. But what I'll be showing you afterwards is how you can make this presentable in the rendering studio. So let's say this is your box, you're like, awesome, I love it. I wanna make this a professional render. And so there's still one more things you could do with it. Let me show you that actually. You can go and click quick sketch, and let's say you want to put your name or whatever. So let's put your text. This text is basically going to create text on this box, either your name or your significant other. I'll put Alex. And so you can click your font size. I'm going to just go for any Calibri Light. Hey, welcome, Valentina. Comic Sans, there we go. And so now you'll be able to write on your box. Make it aligned in the middle, and you're happy. You click sketch. Now let's extrude it. You want to extrude the sketch. And our third sketch is right here. You want to cut into it. Here we go. Repeat extrude. In this case, we're cutting into it 5 millimeters. That's a bit too much. So let's go ahead and cut it less. 1 millimeter sounds good. We cut into it, and now we have our name on this box. So now you know how to create boxes, how to extrude, how to mirror features and bodies, and now you even know how to write your own name in the box. Pretty good. We go back to appearances, go to faces, and put this pink. And now it's good so far.
That looks really pretty.
Thanks. So now we have this box, we have our name on it. We're ready to send it off to whoever we like, but we want to render it. And since everything's now virtual, we want to make it look nice. So we go to render, and we go in our rendering studio, and it's going to bring our box. But now it's going to make it in this virtual studio. We can work with the lighting and the angles at which we want our object to look and how it's going to look like. So we set up the render, and it's going to set up the scene settings for it. Right now I have it set to sharp highlights, but there's a library of different other features you can incorporate. So we can play with cool lights, grid light, can play with rim highlights. Sharp light is what I have right now, soft light, and warm light. So I think the best one, and that's just preference, over a certain period of time you get an idea of more or less what looks good on different colors and materials. Just the materials have their own properties and looks different as well. I think grid highlight was good. So here you have grid highlight. So what do? Some settings you can incorporate here, although I don't usually play around with these. The brightness, leave it as that. Environment, you want to make it an environment or a solid color, you can. The ground plane, different features you want to incorporate. The roughness, how rough this image looks, you want to make it rougher or not. The camera perspective, the focal length, wild. But basically, most of the times I keep this reset. I keep this to the default. So down here you have the option, let's say you messed it up, you restore the defaults and you're back to regular box. So you close it and you're like, okay, I'm satisfied with this. So you click render. So you save your tool. In this case, you save your design. And now you can start the rendering process. So you have the option to render it, and it's giving you the final or standard option. Basically, Autodesk is in America, and they have servers for cloud computing. What you want to do is click the basic one, since we don't really want to do professional. The only time professional one, let's say you're a professional designer and you're designing like a finished presentation of like a car or something, but for our purposes, this is fine. And so now you just wait. You just wait your 10 minutes for the rendering to occur. And it's going to basically create in this virtual studio a representation of your image depending on the material properties, the color, and the lighting. So the opacity, the reflectance, all of that, it's going to be factored computationally, and you're going to end up with this nice looking sketch, this nice looking image of the box. What you can do in the meantime, you go here to capture image, and you want to capture this box you made somehow. So you click capture image, it's going to save this space, this workspace that you have. And you can keep that for a memento or whatever. So any questions so far?
No, not yet. So
yeah, we pretty much reached the end of it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me afterwards in the chat or email me. But I know Valentine's already passed, but I hope you have a special day.